story starts with Morgan Mason, a social media brand ambassador, taking photos of her clients. She gets several calls and texts from her boyfriend Xander, but is too busy to pick up. Riley, her friend and coworker, informs her that Xander has been trying to reach her. Suddenly, he shows up with flowers, and he's fine. Morgan explains that she's been busy and even forgets it's their anniversary. Xander gets pissed and breaks up with her. Later at home, Riley advises her to take a break by going on a vacation, and they check out Calm River Resort. After learning that no phones or laptops are allowed at the resort, Riley disagrees at first, knowing Morgan can't be separated from her phone. But noticing how earnest Morgan is, Riley encourages her to go while she takes care of things. The next day, Morgan books a ride, and Alicia shows up to pick her up. Morgan is confused because she ordered an Uber Elite ride, and a haggard woman shows up with a peasant's car. Alicia apologizes as it might have been an app glitch. As Alicia carries Morgan's luggage into the car, she stares at Morgan's luxurious mansion. As they take off for the airport, Riley reminds Morgan on the phone about the rules of the resort, and Alicia learns that Morgan won't have her cell phone. Curious, Alicia asks Morgan what she does for a living. When Morgan reveals that she runs a social media company with about 13 million followers, Alicia seems indifferent, not knowing how famous that is. She tries to initiate small talk with Morgan, but Morgan says she put quiet mode on the app, so Alicia needs to STFU. Eventually, Morgan opens up about her breakup with Xander and how she's no longer going to have his 9-incher. They get to the airport, and after offloading her bags from the car, Morgan pays for the ride but leaves her house keys behind. Alicia notices the keys and drives back to Morgan's house. At first, she knocks on the door to return them, but after no one responds, she lets herself in and checks out the place. Girl, rich people usually got security. She goes through some of Morgan's stuff before realizing she smells like booty, so she decides to run a bath and have a quiet but fistful time. Meanwhile, Morgan arrives at the resort, and the receptionist struggles to collect her phone, locking it into a box. Back at Morgan's residence, Alicia tries out her dresses, but Daya, the maid, finds her and asks for her identity. Alicia lies, claiming she's Morgan's friend who was asked to house sit while Morgan was away. Daya finds it odd but allows her to stay, asking Alicia to excuse her while she cleans. Alicia then gets rid of her clothes and drives her rideshare car away from the house. Later, she relaxes by the pool when Charles, Morgan's handyman, startles her. She breaks a glass cup, so he carries her to make sure she doesn't step on it. Alicia cleans up nicely. Shocked to see her there, he questions who she is, so she lies again, saying she's a friend of Morgan's. She elaborates, pretending to be a model who met Morgan through work. Charles introduces himself, mentioning that he has known Morgan since elementary school. Before leaving, Alicia takes his phone and gives him her number. At that same time, Daya takes out the trash and notices Alicia's dumped clothes in the bin. Suspicious, she confronts Alicia, demanding payment for cleaning the house. Alicia quickly searches Morgan's room, finds a heap of cash, pays Daya, and starts living the high life in the mansion. Alicia begins ordering a lot of things and checks out the studio downstairs. She spends so much that one of Morgan's staff notices unusual purchases on the company cards and reports it to Riley. Riley shrugs it off, believing Morgan must have quit the trip early, but she instructs the staff to monitor the account. Alicia gets her hands on Morgan's laptop and tries logging in, but the password is incorrect. From the hint, she realizes it's the name of Morgan's childhood pet. Alicia pours Charles a glass of expensive wine. She uses her charm, asking for details about Morgan. He spills, eventually mentioning the name of Morgan's childhood dog, Peaches. Alicia then tries to seduce him, but he avoids her and hurriedly leaves. Later that night, Daya shows up and questions Alicia for using Morgan's workspace and laptop. Alicia tries to scold her, but Daya reveals she knows Alicia is not Morgan's friend. Alicia defends herself, but Daya threatens to call Riley and tell her everything. Immediately, Alicia follows her, trying to seize Daya's phone. In the struggle, Daya slips on the steps, hits her head on her vehicle, and dies. Death by passenger door is diabolical. Moments later, Charles drives into the residence, so Alicia hides Daya's body in the car. Surprised to see Alicia outside, Charles asks why she's there. She lies, saying Daya's car broke down. Charles checks the vehicle, but Alicia successfully distracts him from seeing Daya's corpse. After he leaves, Alicia sobs in Daya's car. Days later, Alicia goes through photos she took in the studio and posts them on Morgan's account, which attracts lots of likes. Moments later, Riley shows up looking for Daya and finds the kitchen in a complete mess. As she walks towards Alicia's hiding spot, a message beeps on her phone, and she sees Alicia's photos. Riley rushes to go to work, wondering why a photo was posted without her approval. Later, Alicia contacts Xander, asking him to come over. Meanwhile, Riley contacts Morgan through the resort's landline, informing her that Daya has gone missing and that her house is a mess. She urges Morgan to cut her vacation short and return home. That night, Xander shows up and is surprised to meet Alicia. Over wine, she explains that Morgan has traveled and moved on with another boyfriend. She lies, telling him that Morgan has secretly been dating Frank for 4 months. As he drinks and becomes inebriated, Alicia takes advantage of the situation. He succumbs, sleeping with her, unaware that it's all part of her plan. Alicia takes their photo while the bed creaks. The next morning, while working in the garden, Charles sees Xander kissing Alicia before leaving. He angrily stares at Xander, then goes inside to confront Alicia about her hotivities. He calls her a parasite, but she snaps back that he's no different because he was just Morgan's pity hire, then threatens to call the police on him if he doesn't leave her alone. Meanwhile, Morgan returns from her tech-free retreat and hears a voicemail Charles sent her about her friend. Later that night, Morgan arrives at her house. After rummaging through her bag for keys, she picks a spare hidden in a hedge and lets herself in. As she moves her luggage inside, Alicia, who is preparing a steak dinner for Xander, spots her and quickly hides. The steak burns, and Morgan rushes to remove it from the stove. Seeing the decorated dining table, she assumes Xander prepared it for her. Just then, Xander shows up with flowers for Alicia, but upon seeing Morgan, he pretends the dinner was his idea. After Morgan hurries to freshen up, Xander looks for Alicia, but Morgan suddenly calls him over after spotting women's clothes scattered about. She demands to know who else has been in her house. Alicia seizes the opportunity to slip away and copies all of Morgan's files onto an external drive. The next morning, Morgan hosts an emergency meeting, demanding to know who had been in her house and why Daya is missing. There she learns about Alicia, the woman who fooled her workers and disappeared with her laptop and business accounts. Morgan immediately orders all her passwords changed and her cards canceled. Charles informs her that Alicia must have gotten access using Morgan's keys, and Morgan connects the dots, realizing it was the bummy Uber driver who picked her up days earlier. When Alicia returns to her room, she tries Morgan's laptop password, only to find it has been changed. Days later, Detective Patterson investigates both Daya's disappearance and Alicia's schemes. She advises Morgan to install CCTV cameras because she was stupid not to have any originally, and Detective Patterson's stupid for not using the Find My feature on the laptop. Later, Alicia contacts Morgan at work, insisting on doing photo shoots. Morgan tells her to turn herself in. Alicia sends Morgan private information obtained from her laptop, threatening to expose sensitive information and reminding her that she still has access to her files. Later that evening, Morgan confides everything to Xander, who tries to calm her down. Meanwhile, Charles installs CCTV cameras throughout her home and teaches her how to use them. He hands her a new set of keys and shows her a sharp case for self-defense. The following day, Alicia stalks Morgan at work, imagining herself as one of the models Morgan actively shoots. Xander spots Alicia and goes looking for her. Later, Riley shows Morgan the stunt Alicia pulled to gain traction. Alicia has gained millions of followers using this controversy. People are calling her Morgan's mysterious tenant, but she looks more like a Laverne Cox squatter. Riley advises her to release a video warning her followers about Alicia. Morgan records the video, calling Alicia a creep who snuck into her house and stole her private details. She warns her followers to report any sightings of Alicia. Meanwhile, Alicia rejoices at her rising popularity until she sees Morgan's video exposing her and even placing a bounty on her. One evening after a dinner date, Morgan apologizes to Xander for not giving his D more attention. He admits he also wasn't considerate of her work. She wants to know what happened with Alicia, but Xander doesn't reveal he broke Alicia's back in. Out of nowhere, Alicia passes by Morgan's side, and Morgan immediately collapses. Later at home, Riley and Xander try to calm her down, insisting she needs rest, but Morgan swears she saw Alicia. At work, Alicia contacts Morgan again, sending her a photo to prove she's watching. Terrified, Morgan quickly calls Charles and asks him to come over because she doesn't want to be alone. When he arrives, he keeps her company, and she asks him to monitor the CCTV. A news broadcast interrupts them, announcing that Daya's body has been found in a car in the nearby river. Later, the detective shows up, reporting all her findings on Alicia. She returns Morgan's laptop and informs her that Alicia is officially on the run. Later, Xander assures Morgan that he'll stick around to keep her safe in case she's paranoid about Alicia. He tells Charlie he can leave now so that he can fold Morgan like a pretzel. But after Morgan leaves for bed alone, he secretly texts Alicia, saying he has done what she asked and she should leave him alone. The next day, Charlie tries to warn Morgan to be wary of Xander, but she's head over heels for his big dong. Later, during a photo shoot of a white pasty vampire, Morgan briefly sees Alicia stalking her. Riley calms her down, telling her she's just imagining things. But later, when Morgan goes through the photos, she clearly sees Alicia in one of them. After work, as Morgan drives home, Charlie checks the security footage and sees Alicia climbing out of Morgan's trunk. Alarmed, he calls Morgan, but her phone is on vibrate. Quickly, he calls Patterson and rushes to Morgan's door. As he fumbles for the keys to get inside, Alicia appears behind him and grabs him by the throat, holding a knife. Morgan finally picks up her phone and sees Charlie's missed call. She calls back and hears his phone ringing downstairs. Because she's half white, she follows the sound and finds Charlie tied to a chair, then screams for help. To her shock, Alicia and Xander appear. Confused, Morgan demands to know why Xander is with Alicia, but Alicia shows her their intimate photo. Xander stammers that he was manipulated, but Alicia taunts him, reminding him how he ravaged her like a Thanksgiving turkey. Frustrated, Morgan asks Alicia why she's doing all this. Alicia coldly replies that Morgan doesn't deserve what she has, that plenty of people would kill to be in her expensive Jimmy Choos. She then admits she didn't accidentally kill Daya. She did it because Daya wasn't Mexican. Xander tries to calm her down, but Morgan seizes the moment and disarms Alicia. Feeling betrayed, Alicia bludgeons Xander to death with a wooden box. Alicia chases Morgan upstairs, but Morgan quickly grabs her house key and waits for her in the kitchen. Alicia takes a swing, but Morgan dodges and stabs her shoulder with a corkscrew before smacking her on the head and fleeing back to the basement. A corkscrew when all those knives are there is stupid. Alicia follows, but the flickering studio lights make it hard to spot Morgan. Hidden behind Charlie, Morgan crawls to Alicia's back and attacks her with a tripod stand just as Alicia is about to kill Charlie. Unconscious by tripod stand is very Tubi. Morgan rescues him, and minutes later the police arrive to wrap up the case. At the back of a police van, Charlie thanks Morgan for saving his life, but she tells him he was the one who saved hers. Riley arrives shortly after and hugs them both in relief. Days later, Charlie calls Morgan and serves her breakfast in bed. As for Alicia, she spends her time happily in jail, reading letters sent to her from her fans.